The sound my sister's body made when it hit the marble floor is something I'll hear for the rest of my life. Welcome back, my friends and family. This is part 2 of our beautiful story. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, I truly invite you to go back and experience the beginning of this emotional journey. But if you've already walked with us through part 1, then sit back, open your heart, and let's continue together, because what comes next will touch you even deeper. Where 3 hours later, Elena gave birth to a baby boy. 5 pounds, 3 ounces, premature but healthy. She named him David, after our father. And when she held him for the first time, crying and exhausted and free, I knew we'd made the right choice. Marcus Whitmore might have money, might have power, might have lawyers and connections and all the resources wealth could buy. But he didn't have Elena. He didn't have his son. And he didn't have the one thing money couldn't purchase. A family who would burn the world down to protect each other. So let me ask you something. Was it worth it? Breaking laws, risking everything, becoming the kind of people who blackmail billionaires? I think so. But here's the thing about revenge. It's never really over. Because 3 days later, while Elena was still in the hospital recovering, I got a phone call from an unknown number. The voice on the other end was calm, professional. Mr. Torres? This is Detective Sarah Chen, NYPD. We need to talk about the incident at Whitmore Tower, specifically about the unauthorized access to corporate servers and the theft of proprietary information. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. And so does your brother Dante. We have security footage. We have digital fingerprints. We have enough evidence to charge you both with multiple felonies. My stomach dropped. Marcus called you. Mr. Whitmore has filed an official complaint. Breaking and entering. Corporate espionage. Blackmail. He's demanding prosecution. He beat my sister. We have evidence. Evidence obtained illegally is inadmissible in court. You know that. Which means you have nothing, and we have everything. So what happens now? Now you and Dante turn yourselves in. Tomorrow, noon, Precinct 17. If you run, we'll issue warrants. If you cooperate, the DA might consider a plea deal. How long are we looking at? 5 to 10 years, each, depending on how generous Mr. Whitmore is feeling. The line went dead. I stood there, phone in hand, looking at Dante across Elena's hospital room. He'd heard everything through my speaker. Well, he said quietly, that's a problem. And that's when I realized our war with Marcus Whitmore wasn't over. It was just beginning. The lawyer's office smelled like old books and desperation. We were sitting across from Marcus Whitmore's attorney, a woman named Catherine Park who wore a suit that probably cost more than my truck and a smile that could freeze hell, listening to her explain exactly how screwed we were. This wasn't how I'd planned to spend Tuesday morning. I'd planned to be at the hospital with Elena and baby David, helping her figure out feeding schedules and diaper changes and all the normal things new families do. Instead, Dante and I were watching our lives get dismantled piece by piece by a lawyer who spoke in calm, measured tones about felony charges and maximum sentences. The evidence against you is substantial, Catherine said, sliding a folder across her mahogany desk. Security footage shows you, Mr. Torres, breaking through a glass door. Digital forensics tie your brother to unauthorized server access. And we have testimony from Mr. Whitmore himself about the blackmail attempt. It wasn't blackmail, Dante said. It was. It was textbook extortion. You obtained information illegally and used it to coerce Mr. Whitmore into signing a legal document under duress. That's a crime. Multiple crimes, actually. I opened the folder. Photos of us at Whitmore Tower. Screenshots of Dante's digital signature on the server logs. Timestamps. Evidence chain. Everything documented with the kind of thoroughness only unlimited money could buy. 5 to 10 years, I said. That's what the detective told me. That's conservative. If the DA wants to make an example of you, if Mr. Whitmore pushes for maximum sentencing, you could be looking at 15. Each. 15 years. I'd be 43 when I got out. Dante too. Elena's son would be in high school. We'd miss everything. What does he want? Dante asked quietly. Catherine leaned back in her chair. I'm sorry. Marcus Whitmore doesn't want us in prison. He wants something else. Otherwise, we'd already be arrested. So what does he want? She smiled slightly. You're perceptive. I'm realistic. Rich people don't waste time on revenge when they can get what they want other ways. So what's the offer? Catherine pulled out another document. Mr. Whitmore is willing to drop all charges, decline to cooperate with a police investigation, and even compensate you for your time and trouble. In exchange for what? Full custody of his son. Sole parental rights. No visitation for Elena. No contact between the child and the Collins family. And you delete all the files you obtained from his servers. Every copy, every backup, every piece of evidence. The room went silent. He wants to erase us, I said. Take the baby and pretend we never existed. He wants his son, Catherine corrected. And he's willing to let you stay out of prison to get him. That's generous, considering what you've done. Generous, Dante repeated. He beats Elena while she's pregnant, threatens us, and we're supposed to think he's being generous? He denies the assault allegations. And without admissible evidence, it's his word against hers. In family court, that won't be enough. So he gets away with it. Again. Mr. Whitmore is offering you freedom in exchange for a child. He has every legal right to pursue custody of anyway. Single mother, no income, history of making false accusations against the father. They're not false, I interrupted. Can you prove that? In court, with evidence that wasn't obtained through criminal activity. Catherine's expression softened slightly. I understand you were trying to protect your sister, but you chose methods that make you criminals, not heroes. Now you have to decide what matters more, your freedom or your nephew. That's not a choice, I said. That's extortion. It's a negotiation, and you have 24 hours to decide. After that, Mr. Whitmore files the police report officially, and you're both arrested. We left the office in silence, took the elevator down to street level, walked 2 blocks before either of us spoke. We can't give him the baby, Dante said finally. We can't go to prison for 15 years either. So what do we do? I didn't have an answer. My phone rang. Elena. Hey, I said, trying to sound normal. How's David? Perfect. Sleeping finally. The nurses say he's doing great for a preemie. A pause. Where are you? You sound weird. Just running errands. Dante and I had to take care of some things. What things? I looked at Dante. He shook his head slightly. Nothing important. We'll be there soon. Adrian, you're lying to me. What's going on? I couldn't do it. Couldn't keep this from her. Not after everything. Marcus is suing for custody and threatening to have us arrested if we don't hand over David voluntarily. Silence. Then Elena's voice, small and terrified. He can't. I signed the custody agreement. He agreed. Agreement signed under duress isn't legally binding. His lawyer just explained that in great detail. So what does that mean? It means we need to figure this out. Fast. How much time do we have? 24 hours to decide. Either we give him David, or we go to prison and he takes David anyway through family court. I heard her crying. Quiet. Broken sobs. I should never have involved you. Never put you in danger. This is my fault. Stop. This is Marcus's fault. All of it. And we're going to fix it. How? That was the question. We went to the hospital. Elena was in a private room. One of the few things Marcus had paid for that actually helped. David was asleep in a bassinet beside her bed. Tiny and perfect. I watched him sleep. Watched his chest rise and fall. Watched his little fists curl and uncurl. 3 days old. And already caught in a war between his parents. There has to be a way, Elena said. Some legal option we haven't considered. I've been researching, Dante said, laptop already open. New York family law is complicated, but it generally favors both parents having access unless one is proven unfit. So we prove Marcus is unfit. With what evidence? Everything we have is inadmissible. The wire recording, the security footage we stole, all of it was obtained illegally. A family court judge won't consider any of it. What about the hospital records from when he hurt me? Helpful but not definitive. He'll argue you fell. His lawyers will bring in medical experts who'll say the injuries are consistent with a fall. Without your testimony being backed up by hard evidence, it's he said, she said. So we're just supposed to give up? I didn't say that. Dante pulled up something on his screen. There might be another way. Riskier. Probably illegal. But it could work. What is it? He turned the laptop toward us. Marcus's finances. The files I downloaded show massive discrepancies. Money moving through shell companies, unreported income, tax evasion on a scale that would make the IRS very interested. We already tried threatening him with that, I said. Didn't work. Because we threatened him privately. But what if we didn't? What if the information accidentally leaked to the right people? You want to release his financial records publicly? I want to do what he's afraid of most. Destroy his reputation so completely that family court judges won't want to give him custody because he'll be radioactive. A criminal. Someone newspapers write think pieces about. Elena shook her head. That's the same blackmail we already tried. He'll still press charges. Not if we do it right. Not if it looks like someone else leaked it. Not us. Who else would have access to his files? Dante smiled. Lots of people. Disgruntled employees. Competitors. Whistleblowers. The beauty of a data breach is that it's almost impossible to prove who actually released the information. Especially if I route it through enough servers and make it look like it came from inside his own company. You can do that. I can make it look like anyone did it. The question is whether we should. I looked at Elena, at David, at the choice in front of us. Give up and lose everything. Or fight dirty and risk everything. How long would it take? I asked. To prep the leak? 6 hours, maybe 8. To actually execute it and cover our tracks? 2 hours max. So we could do it tonight. We could. But Adrian, once this is out there, we can't take it back. Marcus will know it was us. He might not be able to prove it, but he'll know. And he'll come after us with everything he has. He's already coming after us with everything he has. True. But right now we have 24 hours to negotiate. Once we leak this, negotiation is over. It's total war. I looked at my sister. Your call. Elena was quiet for a long time, looking at her son. The baby she'd carried for 8 months. The baby she'd almost died giving birth to. I won't give him up, she said finally. I can't. He's my son. Then we fight. Even if it means going to prison, even then. Because at least we'll go down swinging. Dante closed his laptop. Then we do this right. No mistakes. No traces. What do you need? A different location. Can't do this from here or from Adrian's apartment. Too easy to trace. I need somewhere with public Wi-Fi, lots of traffic, security cameras that are easy to avoid. Coffee shop. I suggested. Too isolated. One person on a laptop for hours looks suspicious. He thought for a moment. Library. Main branch. Lots of people, lots of devices, easy to blend in. When? Tonight. 9 p.m. place closes at 10, which gives us just enough time. Elena grabbed my hand. What if this doesn't work? What if he still gets custody? Then we run. Take David and disappear. Change names, start over somewhere Marcus can't find us. That's kidnapping. Only if we get caught. She almost laughed. Almost. When did we become criminals? When we decided some things are worth breaking the law for. The hospital room door opened. A nurse came in, checking charts, adjusting monitors. We went quiet, waiting for her to leave. She looked at David, smiled. "He's beautiful. You're very lucky." "Thank you," Elena said. The nurse left. Dante stood. "I need to get supplies. Burner devices, clean laptops, routing software. Give me 4 hours." "I'll come with you," I said. "No. You stay with Elena. Someone needs to be here in case Marcus shows up or sends lawyers. I'll handle this part." He left. I sat beside Elena's bed. Neither of us spoke. Just watched David sleep. "Do you think we're doing the right thing?" she asked eventually. "I think we're doing the only thing. Marcus gave us an impossible choice. We're just refusing to accept it. But what if we're wrong? What if this destroys us? Then we'll be destroyed doing what we think is right. Better than being destroyed doing nothing." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered cautiously. "Mr. Torres?" A woman's voice. Not Catherine Park. Someone older. "Who's this?" "My name is Margaret Chen. I'm a family court judge, and I need to talk to you about your nephew." My stomach dropped. "How did you get this number?" "From the custody petition Mr. Whitmore filed this morning. He's moving fast. Emergency hearing scheduled for Thursday. He's claiming you and your brother are dangerous, that Elena is mentally unstable, that the baby is in immediate danger." "That's insane." "Maybe, but he has lawyers who are very convincing, and evidence that looks very damning. Why are you calling me? Shouldn't you be impartial?" "I should be. And officially, I am. But off the record? I've seen Marcus Whitmore in my courtroom before. Different woman, different case. He was awarded custody then too. And 6 months later, that woman was in the hospital with injuries she claimed were from falling downstairs." I went very still. "You think he's abusive?" "I think patterns exist for a reason. But thinking isn't proof. And I can't rule against him based on suspicion." "So why call?" "Because Thursday's hearing is preliminary. Just to determine immediate custody while the full case proceeds. If you have evidence, real evidence, that Mr. Whitmore is dangerous, now is the time to present it." "What kind of evidence?" "The kind that doesn't come from illegal wiretaps or hacking. The kind that would hold up in my court. We don't have that." "Then I'm sorry. But I wanted to warn you. He's going to win Thursday. And once he has custody, even temporary custody, it's very hard to reverse." "How hard?" "Nearly impossible. Especially against someone with his resources." She paused. "I hope you figure something out, Mr. Torres. For your nephew's sake." She hung up. I sat there, staring at the phone. Thursday. 2 days. We had 2 days to find admissible evidence or lose David forever. Dante's plan to leak the financial records would destroy Marcus's reputation. But it wouldn't happen fast enough. Even if we released everything tonight, it would take days, maybe weeks, for investigations to start. For charges to be filed. We needed something faster. Something that would stop the hearing before it happened. "What's wrong?" Elena asked, reading my face. I told her about the call. About Thursday's hearing. About how little time we had. She went pale. 2 days. 2 days. Even if Dante releases the files tonight, it won't matter by Thursday. "I know." She looked at David. "Then we have to run. Tonight. Before the hearing. Before Marcus can. Running makes us fugitives. Makes us look guilty. Proves everything Marcus is saying about us being dangerous. So what do we do?" I didn't know. For the first time since this started, I genuinely didn't know. My phone rang again. "Dante. Adrian. Turn on the news. Channel 7. Now." Elena found the remote. Turned on the TV mounted to the wall. The news anchor's face was grave. Breaking story out of Manhattan. Billionaire real estate developer Marcus Whitmore was arrested this morning on charges of assault and battery. The alleged victim, according to sources, is his girlfriend Elena Collins. Mr. Whitmore is currently being held pending arraignment. The screen showed footage of Marcus being led out of his building in handcuffs. His lawyer Catherine parked beside him, shouting "no comment" at reporters. "I stared at the TV. How is this possible? We didn't report him." Elena refused to press charges. "Someone else did," Dante said. "And I think I know who." "Who? Remember that judge who called you? Margaret Chen. I did some digging after she hung up. Turns out she's not just any judge. She's part of a task force on domestic violence. And she's been building a case against Marcus for months." "How?" "The other woman. The one Marcus got custody from before. She finally agreed to testify. Filed charges yesterday. And when the police went to arrest Marcus, they found evidence in his penthouse. Photos. Videos. A whole collection of things he'd kept as trophies. Trophies. Of his victims. Multiple women. Including Elena." Elena's hand went to her mouth. "He photographed me? After he hurt you. Documented the bruises. The injuries. Probably got off on it." Dante's voice was tight with rage. "The police found everything. And it's all admissible because they got a warrant based on the other woman's testimony. So Marcus is arrested. Not just arrested. Charged. Multiple counts. And because of the severity of the charges and his flight risk, the judge denied bail. I couldn't process it. He's in jail. He's in jail. Which means Thursday's hearing is cancelled. Which means he can't fight for custody while he's fighting criminal charges." Elena started crying. Relief or shock or both. "We won," she whispered. "We actually won." "Not yet," I said. "He has lawyers. Money. He'll make bail eventually, fight the charges, maybe beat them. But not before David is old enough that his preference matters in custody hearings. Not before we have time to build our own case. Not before. Not before we have time," Dante finished. "That's what we bought. Time." On the TV, the news anchor was reading more details. The other victims coming forward. The evidence found. The scope of Marcus Whitmore's abuse spanning years. And I realized something. We hadn't destroyed him. He'd destroyed himself. We just made sure someone was watching when he did. "So what now?" Elena asked. "Now you heal," I said. "You and David both. And Dante and I figure out our next steps." "What about the charges Marcus filed against you? The hacking, the break-in?" Dante smiled. "Funny thing about that. When a defendant is arrested on felony charges, prosecutors tend to deprioritize complaints he's filed against others. Especially when those complaints look like retaliation. Catherine Park called me 20 minutes ago. Very politely suggested that if we make the files we obtained disappear, her client might forget to pursue the matter further. She's trying to cut a deal, I said. She's trying to minimize damage. Marcus is facing 10 to 15 years if convicted. The last thing his lawyers want is us leaking evidence of financial crimes while he's already under investigation. So they're willing to let us walk if we stay quiet. And are we going to stay quiet? Dante looked at me. That depends. Do you trust the criminal justice system to handle this? Or do we want insurance? I thought about it. About Marcus in a cell. About the evidence against him. About whether justice would actually happen or if he'd buy his way out like rich men always did. We keep copies, I said. Encrypted. Hidden. But we don't release them unless he gets acquitted or gets out early. Agreed. Elena was staring at the TV, where they were now showing Marcus's mugshot. He looked smaller somehow. Less intimidating. Just a man in an orange jumpsuit. I loved him once, she said quietly. Or I thought I did. How did I not see what he was? Because abusers are good at hiding, I said. Because he made you think you were the problem. That's what they do. All those other women. I wasn't the first. No. But you might be the last. Because they all came forward. Because you survived. Because you got out. She held David closer. I almost didn't. If you and Dante hadn't shown up that night. But we did. And we always will. The door opened. A different nurse this time, older, with kind eyes. Ms. Collins? There are some police officers here. They'd like to speak with you about Mr. Whitmore. Just a statement for their case. You don't have to talk to them if you're not ready. Elena looked at me. Then at David. I'm ready, she said. I want to tell them everything. The detectives who came in were professional. Gentle. One was the same Detective Chen who'd called me about the charges Marcus was threatening. She looked almost apologetic. Mr. Torres, I owe you an apology. When Mr. Whitmore first filed his complaint, I took it at face value. I didn't realize. It's fine, I said. You were doing your job. Still, I should have looked deeper. Should have questioned why a man would file charges against the family of a woman he allegedly assaulted. She turned to Elena. Ms. Collins, I know this is difficult, but anything you can tell us will help. Elena told them everything. The first time Marcus hit her. The escalation. The hospital visit she'd lied about. The months of terror and isolation. I left the room. Gave her privacy. Sat in the hallway with Dante. It's really over, I said. This part is. But there's still a trial. Still a custody battle once he's sentenced. Still years of legal fighting. But we have time now. We have time. My phone buzzed. A news alert. Marcus Whitmore's company stock drops 40% following arrest. Board calls emergency meeting. Dante read it over my shoulder. His empire is crumbling. Even if he beats the criminal charges, the civil suits from his victims will bankrupt him. The company will force him out. He's done. Good. We sat in silence for a while. Hospital sounds around us. Beeping machines. Distant conversations. The strange liminal space of waiting. Are you scared? Dante asked. Of what? Of what we did. What we're capable of. We hacked into a man's life. Stole his data. We're ready to release it publicly. We're ready to commit crimes to protect Elena. Yes, I said honestly. I'm scared of what that means about us. Does it make us bad people? I don't know. Does it? I think it makes us desperate people who love their sister. But I don't know if that's justification or excuse. I thought about Marcus hitting Elena. About her crumpled on that marble floor. About the choice between doing nothing and doing something terrible. I'd do it again, I said. If I had to. If someone hurt her again. I'd break every law, cross every line, become whatever I needed to become to protect her. Even if it made you a monster? Even then. Dante nodded slowly. Me too. The hospital's PA system announced visiting hours were ending. The hallways started clearing as families said their goodbyes. Detective Chen emerged from Elena's room. We have everything we need for now. Thank you, Ms. Collins. You were very brave. Elena appeared in the doorway, holding David. What happens next? Now we build our case. With your testimony and the evidence we found in Mr. Whitmore's residence, we have a strong prosecution. His arraignment is tomorrow. Then it moves to trial. How long? 6 months, maybe a year. But he won't be going anywhere. The judge already denied bail. After the detectives left, we helped Elena settle back into bed. David was fussing, hungry. The nurses had been teaching Elena how to breastfeed, but it was still new, still awkward. I watched her struggle with it. Watched her figure it out. Watched her become a mother right in front of me. I'm going to have to find a place to live, she said while David ate. Can't stay with you forever, Adrian. Your apartment's too small. You can stay as long as you need. I need to get a job, build a life. Be independent. One step at a time. I already missed so many steps. Went straight from living with you guys to living with Marcus. Never learned how to be on my own. So learn now. We'll help. She looked at both of us. I'm sorry I put you through this. The fear, the danger, the legal problems. Stop, Dante interrupted. You didn't put us through anything. Marcus did. You're the victim here. I don't want to be a victim anymore. Then don't be. Be a survivor. Be a mother. Be whatever you want to be. But stop apologizing for what someone else did to you. A nurse came in, told us visiting hours were over. We needed to leave. I hugged Elena, kissed David's tiny head. We'll be back tomorrow, I promised. I know. Outside, the city was dark, cold. November air biting through our jackets. Dante and I walked to the subway in silence. Do you think she'll be okay? He asked. Eventually. With time. And us. We going to be okay. I thought about the files we still had. The evidence we were sitting on. The power we held over Marcus Whitmore's life. I don't know, I said honestly. But we'll figure it out. We rode the subway home. Got off at our stop. Walked the 3 blocks to my apartment building. The bodega downstairs was still open. The owner, Mr. Kim, waved as we passed. Normal life. Continuing around us like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. We'd crossed lines we couldn't uncross. Done things we couldn't undo. Become people we weren't sure we recognized. For family. For justice. For the belief that some things mattered more than staying safe. Inside my apartment, Dante pulled out his laptop. I need to secure the files. Make sure there are no traces back to us. How long? Few hours. You should sleep. But I couldn't sleep. Couldn't stop my brain from replaying everything. The sound of Elena hitting that floor. The fear in her eyes. The weight of the choices we'd made. I pulled out my phone. Scrolled through news articles about Marcus's arrest. One caught my eye. An interview with one of his victims. A woman named Sarah who'd worked for him 5 years ago. He made me believe I was crazy, she said. That the bruises were my fault. That if I just tried harder, loved him better, he'd stop hurting me. And I believed it. For 2 years, I believed it. Until he put me in the hospital and I finally saw what everyone else had been seeing all along. A monster. Another woman. Anonymous. When the police called and said they'd arrested him, I cried for 3 hours. Not because I was sad. Because I was free. Really free. For the first time in years. I read every article. Every testimony. Every piece of Marcus Whitmore's carefully constructed image falling apart. And I realized something. We hadn't destroyed him for revenge. We'd destroyed him because he'd been destroying women for years and nobody had stopped him. We'd just been the ones who finally had the tools to do it. Did that make us heroes? Probably not. Did it make us criminals? Technically, yes. Did it make us right? I didn't know, but I knew I could live with the uncertainty. Dante closed his laptop around 3 a.m. Done. Everything's encrypted and distributed across servers in 7 countries. Even I'd have trouble finding it all now. But you could if you needed to? If I needed to. Good. He looked exhausted. We both were. 3 days of constant adrenaline and fear catching up with us all at once. Go home, I said. Get some actual sleep. You sure? Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow at the hospital. He left. I sat in the dark apartment alone, thinking about everything that had happened, everything that still needed to happen. The trial, the custody battle, the rebuilding of Elena's life, the aftermath. My phone buzzed. A text from Elena. David just smiled in his sleep. Thank you for giving me the chance to see that. I smiled. Texted back. That's what brothers do. No. That's what heroes do. I stared at that word. Heroes. We weren't heroes. Heroes didn't hack servers and steal data and blackmail billionaires. Heroes worked within the system, followed the rules, trusted justice to happen. We'd stopped trusting justice. We'd become our own justice instead. And maybe that made us vigilantes. Maybe it made us criminals. But it also made us the reason Elena was free. The reason David would grow up without a monster for a father. The reason other women might finally feel safe coming forward. So if that made us the bad guys in someone's story, I could live with that. Because in Elena's story, in David's story, we were exactly what we needed to be. Family who fought back. I finally fell asleep around 4 a.m., sitting on the couch, phone still in my hand. And I dreamed about marble floors and glass offices and the sound of my sister's voice saying, "Thank you," over and over until it became a prayer. When I woke up 6 hours later, the world had moved on. The news was full of Marcus Whitmore's arraignment, his lawyer's statements, the mounting evidence against him. And buried at the bottom of one article, a single line that made my blood run cold. Whitmore maintains his innocence and has vowed to fight all charges. His legal team has also indicated they plan to pursue charges against unnamed individuals who allegedly obtained evidence illegally during the course of a personal vendetta. He was still coming for us, even from jail, even facing years in prison. He was still fighting. I called Dante. "Did you see?" I saw. His lawyers are posturing, trying to scare us. Is it working? A little. But they still can't prove we did anything. The files we have are encrypted. The breach into his servers was covered. Unless we confess, they have nothing. And if they do prove it, then we deal with it. Together. Dante. Adrian. Stop. We knew this was a possibility. We accepted the risk. Now we live with it. He was right. We'd made our choice. Now we faced the consequences. So let me ask you one final question. If you could go back, knowing everything that happened, would you still make the same choice? Would you still break the law, risk everything, become someone you're not sure you recognize, to save someone you love? Because that's the question Adrian and Dante are living with now. And the answer defines who they are. Not heroes, not villains, just brothers who loved their sister enough to burn the world down for her. And sometimes, that's enough. 3 months later, Marcus Whitmore was convicted on 7 counts of assault and battery, sentenced to 12 years in prison. His company collapsed. His assets were frozen. His empire dissolved. Elena got full custody of David, started therapy, got a job at a bookstore that let her bring the baby to work. Slowly, she started healing. And Dante and I, we were never charged. The investigation into the server breach went nowhere. No evidence. No witnesses. Nothing to connect us to the crime. Marcus's lawyers tried. God, they tried. But in the end, they had nothing. We'd gotten away with it. And I still don't know if that makes us lucky or damned. But I know this. Every night, I sleep soundly. Because the monster is in a cage. And our sister is free. And sometimes, that's all the justice there is. So what do you think? Was it worth it? The lies, the crimes, the risks. Was it all justified by the outcome? Or did Adrian and Dante become the very thing they were fighting against? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Because this story isn't just about revenge. It's about how far you'd go for family. And where you draw the line between justice and vengeance. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Subscribe for more stories about ordinary people making impossible choices. Hit the like button if this one made you think. And remember, sometimes the line between hero and villain isn't as clear as we want it to be.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.